What do we look for in a video game? Is it the fun? Is it the experience? Or is it something deeper? Well, after playing Spec Ops, I got that something deeper that most of the games quite often don't deliver. I remember thinking of playing this game a year ago, but for some unknown reason, I forgot about it. And now I have played it twice, back to back, and it was an amazing experience. Spec Ops The Line was actually a reboot that came out in 2012. When the game starts, it's just another generic shooter game, but as you keep going down, you descend into the heart of darkness this game has for you. The gameplay isn't the main focus in Spec Ops The Line, but what it emphasizes the most is the mind-blowing story. I would visualize the gameplay as some mobile shooter where you take cover and shoot a bunch of soldiers. When you first boot up the game, it feels like a regular main menu, but you can clearly see the US flag is upside down, and that means it's a distress call. So the game is already preparing you for what's next. It has a theme of pain and suffering. So starting the game, you get a simple sequence of shooting a minigun from your chopper to destroy the ones that are chasing you. This part seemingly becomes super important for the story progression after chapter 12. There are a total of 15 chapters, which makes the game quite short. Eventually your chopper crashes after some time and the game takes you back to what happened earlier. So what happened earlier? We're gonna dive deep now. Well, actually not so soon, because in the first chapter you're just a regular captain named Walker of a 3-soldier Delta Force, and you, the gamer, the player, is the special guest. The first chapter teaches you the basics of the gameplay, which is not hard to pick up on. Most of the combat sequence you face is about taking covers to avoid enemies' line of fire, shooting them and then moving forward, with some addition of commanding your team to kill a target. I obviously like this feature because the teammates actually does a decent job at following your orders. Lugo, who is a trained sniper, shoots the enemies from a distance, and Adams, who can push forward to aid you in killing your dedicated target. I think this targeting feature is not only helpful for making targets for your friends, but also can be useful for yourself. Like, I've sometimes marked some targets from far away just so I can take a clean shot at them or know where their position is. Grenades are somewhat useful, especially the sticky grenades that can wipe multiple enemies easily. There's nothing more in the gameplay side than blindly shooting hordes of soldiers. There's a mall level where you had to shoot countless military soldiers with a machine gun, which can be surprisingly boring. But as I said, the gameplay isn't the best part in this game. Spec Ops tells a brilliant story and blatantly shows you the cruelty of war. The moral choice you make throughout the game can determine what kind of person you are in real life. There are some important factions in the game, like the 33rd, the refugees, and your own team. The connection between these factions gets misunderstood multiple times, which leads to killing each other even if it's your ally group. Moral choices are not as strict as other video games where you choose between option A or option B shown on the screen. Instead, Spec Ops implemented these choices distinctively to the ongoing situation the game is moving by. Like shooting an American in a part of the game is totally an independent choice. The game doesn't suggest you to kill or spare him in any way. You can shoot him if your heart desires or not. This kind of choices continuously puts you in the shoe of Walker to test your true self. But in Chapter 8, the choice becomes inevitable. Picture this with me. There's an almost uncountable amount of enemies in front of you, and there's a very small chance of survival without using heavy artillery. In this case, it's white phosphorus, which is considered a war crime, and the game puts you in a position where you are bound to use it. Because even if you try to fight the enemies with your regular weapons, they just keeps respawning. It's because the developer wanted the players, the special guests, to see a brutal scene. Just like Call of Duty games, you unfold a laptop and just normally destroy lives. But in Call of Duty, it doesn't show the agony, the pain, the suffering, but rather you celebrate your victory because you did something heroic. Right after the distraction, the game shocks you with the effect of your action, the suffering of the soldiers, and out of nowhere you realize there are civilians and the army are protecting them. This scene was necessary to show us gamers the actual brutality of using white phosphorus. The game shows you what you have done. Here is the result of playing a mini target simulator. Jaeger Production also put a lot of details in the narrative and the scene, like Lugo saying there's always a choice, but in reality, Walker says there actually isn't any. From a gamer's perspective, it's like I gotta kill these people anyhow and I'll be saving the day, because that's what most of the video games make us believe. In my first playthrough, I was wondering why is the game showing Walker's reflection on the screen while killing with the white phosphorus. I think it resembles with us gamers again. You and your monitor, playing games, casually killing people without any guilt or regret only to get shoved in your face by the fact that you have also slaughtered civilians. This was undoubtedly the most memorable scene of Spec Ops. It's an amazing representation by the game developers which exceeds Call of Duty, Battlefield or any other shooter games. Never have I ever felt this amount of guilt by doing something in a video game. Spec Ops The Line has some splendid music that amplifies your combat and story experience.
Watch out! Tango down! I think we're clear. Okay, let's keep moving.
Musics play when you are relentlessly killing enemies or progressing through the story.
Let's go moving! Watch him! Fucking stay down!
What was even more magnificent was how amazingly they put the voice acting with exertion. From putting effective voice lines in the combat to intensifying the plot experience, Spec Ops' voice acting was something phenomenal. The voice lines of Walker also changes from giving professional callouts to angry and exhausted expression in the late part of the game.
Target down! Reloading! Keep an eye out! Heads up! Tango trying to move! Hostile down! Reloading! Got the son of a bitch! Got the motherfucker!
His mental condition affects himself as a result. He starts to sound mad. Nolan North, who is known for his voice acting in many video games, took it to the next level as he was the voice actor of Walker. It is said that they did the voice acting of Walker in one day because the team wanted Nolan to actually give the exhausted expression in his voice acting. It was a genius strategy which made the voice acting really exceptional in Spec Ops. PTSD. Tony Stark has it, Katniss from Hunger Games has it, Tommy Shelby from Peaky Blinders has it, but they are all movie characters. I think what's great about Spec Ops is that it showed this state of mind precisely as a video game. Walker's subconscious mind that builds up to having a hallucination is portrayed pretty well in this game. As I said, the first helicopter scene becomes a major part after chapter 12 when Walker falls into the same situation once again.
Wait! Wait, this isn't right! Well, it's too late now! No, I mean, we did this already! What do you mean? Fuck it! It's nothing! Just shake these
There's the time when you realize that this is nothing but some hallucination and Walker is living in his own personal hell. It's also believed by the game lead writer Walt Williams that Walker died in this helicopter crash and the rest of the game is his purgatory. I think what happened after the first chapter is a flashback to the mission in Dubai, and after the crash is all his hallucinations. The story is written in a particular way that it leaves us confused. The story is not absolutely perfect and it has some minor plot holes. But I personally think some stories are better off being totally perfect. The whole plot progression of Walker living his own personal hell and having to witness the plot twist at the end is so beautifully crafted. There are some important details in Walker's hallucination which are more likely to get noticed when you play the game again. Like in chapter 10 you meet Riggs, a CIA agent who talks about the plan to steal water from the 33rd. But then he intentionally crashes the water trucks and gets stuck under one. Here Walker has a choice of killing Riggs or let him burn to death. If you shoot him you'll see a graffiti of a man with a bullet hole in his head. After some time, you'll see one statue pointing a finger gun at another in Walker's hallucination. If you let him burn, then you'll see a graffiti of a face and a lighter, and the statues will appear molten. I didn't notice this in my first playthrough, but it's impressive how the developers presented these small details. Walker also sees Lugo and Adams in his hallucination where they are just some regular enemies. There's also a thing about transitions, like when it fades to black it's a normal transition, but when Walker is hallucinating it fades to white. Although it makes the story a little more complex. Another thing I wanna mention is the sniper guy in the main menu. His name is apparently Joe. Joe's appearance keeps changing through chapter progression. At the end he just somehow dies, just totally gets Joe mama'd on. It's quite sad. Who knows what happened? Maybe he suicided, or maybe it was Walker who sniped Joe using the teammate targeting technique. Spec Ops is not just a game to play, but it also teaches us a lesson. Video games has this attitude of spotlighting one thing. You are the hero. At the end of the day, everything is going to be alright. Whatever you did, even if it cost innocent lives, is for the greater good. The game doesn't forcibly make you do things, it's because of you wanted to do this. For example, in chapter 13, Lugo is shown hanged by some refugees. Now we are supposed to save the refugees. Lugo dies after this, and at this point the game will let you shoot the refugees, and that time you'll feel a furious urge as a human to kill those peoples. You could shoot at the sky to scare them away, but most of the players didn't do this. You killed them because you felt that was the right thing to do. This is where the beauty of Spec Ops lies. Even the loading screen starts to taunt you by saying things like, "This ain't real, so why should you care? You are still a good person." Lugo was the lucky one because if he survived he would be a victim of PTSD. Now Walker idolizes a man named Conrad. Conrad was a hero and Walker also wanted to feel like a hero. He wanted other people to respect him. But this time a hero wasn't necessary. Walker was supposed to call for backup, but he kept moving onward. He wanted to be the guy. And the game puts you in Walker's shoes and make you take decisions, which shows how much Walker and us gamers has things in common. It was revealed that Conrad is actually dead, and the Conrad who was in Walker's mind was just another figure that Walker would use as a figure to blame for his own guilts. You as a gamer wanted to be the hero, but in reality you just aggravated the situation. In one loading screen it says, "Do you feel like a hero yet?" There is a quit button in the game, but you didn't stop. You wanted to be the hero. None of this would have happened if you had just stopped.
None of this would have happened if you just stopped. But on you marched.
But you didn't. It was all Walker's fault, our fault, but still Walker would keep blaming Conrad in his hallucination.
Everything. All this. It was your fault. If that's what you believe, then shoot me.
And we would keep blaming the game. The game made us do this, where in reality it was us. Conrad also says,
"Even now, for all you've done, you can still go home. Lucky you."
It's like the player can still turn up the game and be happy. There are multiple endings in the game, but what I think the right choice is to accept your mistake. Because Walker is stuck in a loop if he doesn't die. He'll say the exact same line that he said in the beginning of the game. So the only way to escape this hell is to end himself for good.
Gentlemen, welcome to Dubai.
Gentlemen, welcome to Dubai.
Spec Ops: The Line must be experienced. This game's trailer was created like it was some casual military shooter, but only those who have played this game knows the underlying secret. A secret gem which can only tell a story a game can tell. Because I think you just can't experience that story of Spec Ops through a book or movie or any other media format. Only a game can show us the darkness Spec Ops shows. After playing Spec Ops: The Line, I was just glad that I played this game. And that concludes this video. If you have come this far, then thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe and stay tuned for more contents, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, have a nice day.